Hi, and I
Um,
welcome to Bonnie, who is joining us today. I'm super excited about this because this is the first ever inspirational women, should I say, interview of mine, and I'm really rapt that you can join us today,
always.
Bonnie, live from Papakura. Am I right?
Mokaraka. Yeah.
Yes. So I thought we could start off by, you might be able to fill in a few gaps here because I actually can't remember how we first met.
Do you know what? Literally only about half an hour ago, I was trying to think of that, and for the life of me, I'm pretty sure it was through Kim,
Yeah, yeah,
but I can't remember um the first time actually.
because I started competing. We're connected through bodybuilding. We're connected
Yes,
through WFF, right? And
yes.
my first comp was 2018, and I'd heard about you. Kim had told me about you, and I then competed in 2019.
Yes.
Um, but I guess my real strong memory of you is uh, ICN 2020.
Hopewell?
Taupo, yes. Now, was
Yes.
that 2020?
2019.
2019, there you go. Yeah,
Yes. And funny you say that because that is mine as well at the hotel.
yeah.
Yeah. And I kept trying to remember past that. And I remember seeing you on stage and I remember your routine and all the flow. But as far as one-on-one conversations and it keeps going back to Topor.
So that could be it then. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was quite comfortable with you though, so I do wonder whether there were other times that we'd spoken, but it definitely maybe more personally, Topor.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was pretty full on for you, wasn't it?
Yes,
Do you
yes.
want to share a bit about that?
Um,
Because I can remember
yes,
the craziness of it.
yeah. So I'd heard about ICN. I do believe that was my first time with them. Um, I'd heard about them and I'd heard, it was natural. And they didn't do a routine,
Mm,
which, yeah, it was a really draw card for me because I was about, fighting my fears and what have you, but the less stage time, the better. So that it really appealed. Yeah, so that was me. Prepped myself for it. Um, there were I think two things that had happened quite close to that. So I had a friend, Sessa Tomuli. So she had passed away, I think within that week of me prepping for it. I think I believe that she was a pro at the time, but she was someone that influenced me from very, very young. And she'd always said, Bonnie, you need to compete, but zero interest at that time. But anyway, her funeral was on the day of the comp, and her family had said, "We want you on the stage. Do not come to the funeral." And yeah, um, basically, like in her, oh my god,
oh, funny. Yeah.
yeah, um,
Mm.
yeah. So in her memory, oh my god,
Bless you. And the interesting thing is, I'll fill in the gaps briefly, is that unless you've actually competed, that intensity of that week and that build up is unbelievable. So
yes,
you just tearing up
yeah,
about
yeah. So I had that. Which, to be honest, I think if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have done as well as I did.
mm,
Um,
mm.
So I had that, and then I had a couple of little things that were kind of, people had some bad things to say. I thought I didn't care as much as I did, but they were people that I thought kind of had supported me, but didn't. And so I was trying to find something positive out of that as well. And that was all, within that couple of days. So it felt very overwhelming and intense, and new federation, and it kind of just, you're supposed to manage your stress, and so I was dealing with all of that, and Kim had just randomly like, oh yeah, we're going to come to the hotel. This was the night before. It was really late, and I was like, oh, okay, like, yeah, I didn't expect that. I was like, but awesome, come over. And then sure enough, you guys had come over about 10-15 minutes later. And I had met you, and I don't believe I disclosed the whole, you had no idea of the full extent, right?
No.
Yeah.
No.
And yeah, I might have said one or two things, and you kind of, just with the things that you had said, like you basically said, like, stop, just stop. Yeah, and just everything that you had said, rather than sitting on all that, the negative stuff, like literally shifting all of that into, I don't even know how to describe it, but like literally magic. Just where my mindset was, and such a bad place. And when you're on stage, you want to be perceived as confident and happy and enjoying that moment. And where I was at that point, it was very, very far from that. So you basically stopped, like shut that down. And it was funny because, I don't know you, and I'm like, oh, okay. And you've just given me a little bit of advice about like what mattered, basically tricking, you gave me a little bit of a mantra about how to almost trick myself into believing that I was confident and I was doing it, for a reason. And so I spent the rest of the night literally, over and over and over, shoulders back and all of that. And then, so I took that on board, which you have to choose to, either listen and take that on or carry down another path. So the next morning I was fine. I was happy. All I thought about was that. And then went onto stage. I felt like I nailed it as far as my presence and the feedback. And I say that because, in person, I would definitely not say that I am, overly confident on stage. And that's the reason why I started. But all the feedback was, oh, you were so confident and you were so this and that. It's like, oh, you have no idea. But it was just that, I'd felt like you had mentally kind of flipped the switch to be able to perform. I don't know how to describe that. Like hypnotized.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I've never thought of myself this way, but I just so got that vibe off you. I thought you looked absolutely ready to strike. physically, but I could feel that vibe of you of that would let you down. And
Yes.
we all know that, don't we? We can look incredible, but if we don't go out there with that presence.
Yes.
And I guess in that moment, it was about, and it's exactly what you said, it is about hints and tips to cope in the moment.
Yes. Yeah.
And how do you transform? How do you get that shift in that tiny window? Because the other thing I want to add that people won't know about you is you were also down there with hubby and the kids. So it
Yes.
wasn't just you trying to deal with this. You had all those extra challenges as well. Because you were all there, weren't you? I just remember
Yes. Yes.
thinking, how does this woman do this?
Oh, they pretty much every show.
Mm,
Nationals last year was the first time that they've actually been in the stage, and the first time that they've actually asked to, but generally everywhere that we go for the event that they will come, and then our family will, so they're not actually watching on stage, but very normal for them and us. Yeah.
mm. And so maybe that's quite a good opportunity to fill in a bit about your background, Bonnie, because as I say, there is so much more to you that, and I think some of this will resonate with some of the women in my membership. But listen, you're a mum of how many?
3. So I've got 7, 8, and 10.
Yeah. And that's no mean feat, is it?
No, it's the hardest.
Yeah. And in terms of your background as well, the other thing that has always struck me is that I didn't know this for quite a while, is that you and Leon had you were actually business owners as well.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's a whole nother layer of challenges, isn't it?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Being in
Yeah.
charge.
So
Yeah.
we are out of that now. So I've been at the gym for 3 months.
Mm.
But prior to that, we had a still shop, and we'd had that for too many years. Through COVID, stupid amounts of ram raids. Yeah. Yeah. Lots and lots of work.
Yeah. And so what do you think? Because you're not the only one that I know in this situation who's got children and a business and has been an athlete or doing something for themselves. People's perception of someone who's achieving at that level, like you have done on stage, is that I'd love to do that, but I can't. And I really want to open that window into the life of someone who is, a mum, a wife, and somebody who's been running their own business. What do you think? What could you share that might inspire, encourage, or open a secret door into how you manage? Is there anything that you think?
I think if you want it enough, you will make the time. I think for me, it's been I've always had to do something, and I've done it from a very young age. It's so good for my mental health as well as everyone else's. So I have to give myself time. I'm a better mother. I work harder. I like the structure. So it's just about where in the day can you fit that up? Where can you fit it in? And then going from there.
Mm. And that kind of rings true with a lot of the things that I've shared with my clients, is around how badly do you want something? What
Yes.
Are you prepared to pay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have found lately with a lot of clients, they've said, I want to work with you, but I'm not ready yet. And then a month or two later, they've put on an extra 5-10 kg. So they're like almost at their most uncomfortable point. And they're like, oh, actually, let's go right now. I'm free whenever you like. Let's go. Like it. Yeah.
And that's an interesting point, isn't it? It's, yeah, it's getting the help early before it's reached that really painful stage. But it's almost like for some of us, we have to be in that
Yes.
extreme pain. And I've
Yes.
been there and done
Yeah.
it, to make the jump.
Yeah.
And I guess also I'd like to point out now that you are now a personal trainer. So your clients are coming to you as someone who has been successful, who's someone who's retrained, because you have done
Yes.
PT for a while. You have done that training for some time.
Yes. Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
just you've come off stage and you're training people.
No. So I was qualified and I'd worked in the same gym where I am now
Yeah.
over 20 years ago. But I knew after I had my kids, my daughter in particular, that I was going back into the industry because, I had experienced all the weight gain and it was just a whole different ball game and feeling and like new body.
Mm.
And you can't really understand until you've gone through all of that. So I had a whole new level of appreciation, not only like physically, but for your body and time management. It gets harder.
Mm.
Yeah. So I knew that once the kids were old enough that I would be back in the gym and then just slowly setting myself back up, like studying nutrition and getting my requalifying and all that sort of stuff while the kids were a little bit younger, and then also while we had the shop, doing that in the background as backup or preparation to coming back in full time.
Mm. And appreciating that this new phase of your life. I think that's something that has fascinated me, that so many people find that getting harder and harder the older you get to do these major shifts.
Yes, and it's the first I got told very young, that I should have stuck at it and I'd be amazing. And when you're that young, you just, I probably needed a little bit more encouragement, and maybe I would have. I absolutely loved it, but I chased money and I wanted to travel, and I just didn't want to commit to too much. And then also, you're always worried about if you're going to make enough money and what if I don't do this. And whereas now, like, it's the first time, like, I genuinely love what I do, and I'm 40. It's it's a bit sad, but yeah, I genuinely love it. Happy. Yeah, it's awesome.
And you've got that history now and that relatability for a whole new bunch of clients, haven't you?
Yeah, and I think, again, I'm lucky in that way that because I have been at the gym that I now work at, all of those people, I've been there 20 odd years and they've seen me for who I am, no different. I'm not trying to sell anyone anything. They see me training hard, every other day. So I've built really good relationships, and I believe a lot of respect that way as well. So it's, it
Yeah.
helps.
And it's interesting, isn't it? Because that's something that we've been sharing with people about this whole community. And, you know, you've already got them sitting there, people that you know, people that have seen you. And yeah, it's super exciting, super exciting. But I think that relatability is pretty, I would probably say that's a huge draw card for you, because there are so many PTs out there, aren't there? Let's face it. How do people decide who's good, who to go to?
Yes.
And I don't know whether I'm being ageist here, but a lot of them are very young.
Oh, that's the part. It is like coming back into the industry, and it's just everyone thinks they're coaches these days, and that I don't know if I should say respectfully, because it's probably not, but you know, like there are a million know-it-alls, but only a couple of them actually know.
Mm.
Yeah, like if you know, show me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love it. And you have shown them.
Yeah, but that's like the benefit of age as well, right? Like I was in their shoes 20 odd years ago, and even though I'd done the study, I actually had no idea. Like I remember training mothers and stuff back then, and just specific things that I recall now that they'd said back then. Yeah, I had no idea. And I'm, you know, I would have been just horrible.
So who are your core clients currently then? Who would you say that you're attracting?
um, that's probably late or what, early 30s through to 50s. Not necessarily mothers, but just women that are starting to prioritize themselves a bit more. They are motivated, and just needing a bit more guidance. Working woman. Yeah, I kind of need to nail that down a bit, but literally every single one of them, like, are my people. They've got a positive attitude. They listen. They want to do better. Yeah, maybe like half of them would be mothers, but not necessarily all. Yeah.
And as you say, that positive attitude, that buy-in is absolutely essential in this sort of situation, isn't it? Because you as a coach can be amazing, but unless they're actually out there doing the work, there's not
Yes.
is there?
Yes. So
Yeah.
I have had to say no or turn down a number of people. I'd ended probably 2 or 3. Yeah, and it just goes back to that attitude. You know, if you want the results, then there needs to be a mutual kind of give and take as far as effort and you know, listening and yeah, being realistic with expectations and how you get there, and but mostly attitude. Yeah.
Yeah. And do you actually have that as part of your sort of pre-talk to people? How do you check in for that?
Yeah. So I always do a consult. And it's a fairly casual one. It basically comes down to you know, their expectations, their commitment, what they're willing to put in, what they can make. Yeah, and I can kind of read off of there, like how they're going to be as a client, whether I feel that they might be better with someone else, or whether we try. Sometimes we have tried for a month or so, and then yeah, I would have to refer them on. Yeah, but at the moment, I'm in a amazing place where every single one of them are amazing. Yeah, like the lady that I said before we'd started, you know, all ranges of women, but all putting in the work, unbelievable stories. Yeah.
And can I come back to that? Because that's another thing. When you've been on stage and reached and achieved what you have, because what is it you had, you with ICM, what did you got your pro card?
Yes, in Bali last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you come back from that and you're now, you know, working with clients, there's two trains of thought there, isn't there? One is that, oh my God, she only deals with top end athletes and it's really intimidating. Or it's you know, you're trying to attract just anybody, but you've got a range of people, haven't you? And I just wanted you to share that they're not all
No. So that's the cool part. It's all happened organically. And I, although I said that there are one or two that I've had to say no to and refer them on, for the most part, everyone that I am attracting or I am lucky to have, they are. I can't even put it into one niche, but as far as attitudes go and their morals and you know how we do things, that is all the same. But yeah, like their life in general is all you know, we've got really fit. So a couple that compete, and then on the other side is yeah, really oh, how would I put that? Like morbid, yeah, like high care
dealing with
clients.
feel
Yeah.
weight. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Weight issues. Yeah.
Yeah. But both equally like so satisfying. Yeah. And then you've got, you know, all the mixes in between. But if I put them all together, I just know that a lot of them would get on so, so well. Yeah.
It's pretty
And
amazing.
they're people through you know, friends of friends and just I don't know, somehow have found me.
Attracting, law of attraction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But I did find that super interesting because I do know from having talked to other people as well that it can be, you know, super intimidating to go to somebody who has achieved what you've achieved. And especially if you're dealing with a major weight issue.
Yes. Well, and so that's, yeah. Um, that particular lady, I'd said to her and explained, you know, like that's quite a close one for me because I've watched my own family, you know, pass away from all those issues and be that weight. So although people might consider me over here, you know, I've actually, most of my Māori side all struggle with all of that. And so that I'm probably more comfortable with that end of clients, what equally as, you know, the athletes. And I can't say that I've ever, you know, gone to that side, but as far as my family and yeah, watching that, you know, brought up on boil up and all that sort of stuff, I know all that and the struggles that come with it.
And that's the key, isn't it? That's what people are often missing when they're sharing is that real story that people can connect and go, oh my God, she gets me, even though she hasn't actually lived it.
Yeah.
That is part of her experience as well. And I
Yeah.
think where we often forget, you know, that value of sharing your story and what people find attractive and how people connect with you on a
Yeah.
different level than just, oh, she's going to be a super PT. It's very real. No, that's brilliant, Bonnie. Super exciting. But I think those stories, yeah, are fascinating. And your clients are very lucky.
Yes. Oh, equally though, like it's such a nice feeling when you know that, you know, you've got 10 other PTs there, and they've, you know, specifically chased me. They could have had any one of them. Yeah, and just knowing, you know, that they trust you and that coachable, I guess, you know,
Mm.
that would be like another coming back to the consultant stuff, you know, whether they're willing to take the information on board and execute it. And yeah, so it does go both ways, you know. It's nice to know that people are trusting you. Yeah.
So I've got my feelings around what potentially your point of difference is. What do you think, you know, your point of difference is as somebody who's in the PT industry, which is highly competitive?
Do you know what? So I've been sitting on this business plan for literally 3 months. Those are one of the questions. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, another day. It's just hard. And it's something that should be like really, really simple. Um, yeah, so maybe I'll finish that today.
Well, let
Um,
me, yeah, go
yeah,
on.
but I do believe, although I haven't had ever been, you know, a huge overweight as such, all of my family have. I have been brought up in that life where, you know, we eat the bread and stack the butter and all of that. So all my family, like no one has lived past 60. So, you know, I have, yeah, none of them so far. It's all heart disease, lung disease, diabetes.
Wow, Bonnie. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Um, my uncle, he is 59, and you know he's lucky to be alive at the moment, but it's because of the lifestyle that I was brought up with, and fish and chips, and very little knowledge there as far as their upbringing goes, as far as being healthy and what have you. But I think seeing that side of it, and then me from a young age being involved in sport, and I needed that mentally to be able to keep myself out of trouble, basically, and not go down the paths that you know, my brothers and the rest of them did. So that was my savior. And then yeah, using that experience, and then, you know, after the kids and what have you, being able to bring myself back after those by myself. Yeah, I think all of those experiences, like it feels like both sides. Yeah. So that, yeah, I feel like that is a bonus, like learning what to do, what not to do, including in competition as well. Like generally, you know, if you make a stuff up, you'll only do it once.
Yeah.
How to do it better. Yeah. Learning from your mistakes.
Mm.
And then, you know, you're talking about managing children and all that sort of stuff. Like, yeah, using all that again, things that I'd done back then, and I look back and think, oh, actually, you know, could have done that a bit better, and then using that for my younger clients that, you know, like 5-10 years kind of behind me, and just, yeah, giving them little tips that I think would have helped me, you know, in their situation now. Just about, you know, finding a little bit of time for yourself, and those walks with the pram, and yeah, back to a little bit of mental health as well, like come home and be a better mother. And yeah.
And there's that saying, and I think it's Dean Graziosi that says it, your ideal client is you 10 to 15 years ago.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. Like, I look back
Yeah.
and I'm like, you know, I'm proud, but, you know, if I had someone that said, hey, you know, don't be so hard on yourself, and yeah, all that stuff.
And it's interesting you say about, you know, your clients are women who, going back a bit, who are beginning to prioritize themselves. And I just heard that there where you said about, you know, taking that pram out. It is doable, isn't it? It's being
Yes.
creative in how we
Yes.
prioritize ourselves. It's not abandoning the family or the partner, but the message that I'm always sharing is you cannot give if you are feeling miserable, and
Yes.
it is about self-care and putting yourself
Yes. Yeah.
um
You got, like, you know, natural endorphins and all, you know, you feel the rest of your life is for them, but you've done something for you. You know, you've got out in the sun, and just it helps you feel a little bit better to be able to give back, yeah, a bit more to the family. And
and
when
you're
they are happy, you
yes,
know, everyone is happy. It's, yeah.
funny that, isn't it?
Yeah.
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 And I guess now that's going to be even more obvious to you in because you've now got clients that you're giving to as well. So you have
Yes.
that somewhere in the middle with what's Bonnie doing for herself, and what are your, because you are adjusting to this new phase, aren't you? Because as you said, you're doing your business plan and you have set yourself up at the gym. But there's me in my head, and I'm thinking, oh my God, Bonnie, you'll have your own your own setup. Yeah, so anything you want to share about what's next for you? Are you getting back on stage? Have you got
Yes. So we have Worlds in Canberra. So that's the first week of November. So I'll be doing that. And then we've got the first time we've got Oceania, ICN Oceania in Auckland, New Zealand, a week later.
Oh wow. I did.
Yes. Yeah. So I feel like we have to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll be doing those two. Can't wait.
No pressure. Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean. It's you know, it's the first time. There's no excuses about, you know, cost or anything. Um, and I feel like if I left it another year, it will just, there's a little bit of room for comfort, and I don't want that. So, you know, why not?
Can you flesh that out a bit? Because I can relate to that comfort.
Yeah, and so I'm scared of that. So it's
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's on the calendar. I've booked the flights, so that when I commit to something, I have to, you know, register, or I need tickets. It just, you go so much, you're way more committed when you do that versus just saying it.
Yeah. It's kind of
Yeah.
putting your money where your mouth is, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And what do you think the secret is in terms of, because the other thing is it's a long way off, right? Well, I mean, actually it isn't now, is it?
No, it's
But
not. I,
it's
I did feel like it. And I do feel lucky that I haven't had to do the regionals, because normally, you know, you've only got a couple of months, and then you need to kind of hold that conditioning and then come back down a bit more within a few months. So I haven't had to do that. So yeah, hopefully that will pay off.
Mm.
But for me, it's coming fast. Yeah. Very similar to your dates, only a
Yeah,
couple of weeks apart. Yeah.
I
So
know.
it'd be the same.
And so in terms of, commitment and being able to be, because people see it, don't they, as disciplined and making the, how do you do that? The potential reinforcement of the actual day is a long way off. So do you have anything that you do that helps you to stay focused? Because a common thing that comes up, and I'm sure you hear that with clients, is, that we have the short-term gratification. Oh, it's only one coffee, it's only one muffin, it's only one this,
Oh no.
and people are fascinated by that. How do you manage that? Or how would you encourage some? Because I think to some degree you will have trained yourself into that now.
Yes.
But
I think,
how do you share it with people?
yeah, I think every time, well, for me, every competition or every goal, you just get that little bit better.
Mm,
Um, you learn your weaknesses,
mm,
and then it's just refining that. So for me, I'm a picker.
mm,
And mentally, I think it's okay if I just grab a couple. Um, but actually, yeah, so I used to do that all the time. Now I don't allow myself those little things at all.
mm,
Um, Peanut butter, that by the time I've had a couple of here and there, it's like a whole jar of peanut butter, and the fat in that when I'm supposed to be cutting. And I don't know, I think just focus on little things. Over
mm,
time, those little habits will get better and better. um, I like to make notes on my phone, and kind of tick things off. Yes, I was 100% today. Just something to give you a little bit of accountability for ourselves. Um, Another thing I always tell myself, look, I love, love, love ice cream. Um, but it doesn't love me. Is I always just, my weakness, everything goes to the backside, and you can't have a weakness. So I always think, well, do you want a jiggly ass? If so, go ahead and eat it. And I literally tell myself that every time now. Yeah. So I've nailed that, but it took like 5, 6 years of oh no, just a little bit. Oh no, I'll have some of hubby's. It's not the same because it's his.
Doesn't count.
Yeah, it doesn't count, but now it's, yeah.
Mm,
Um, which one do I want more?
yeah.
Yeah.
And those conversations with ourselves are fascinating, aren't they? Because
Oh, it's like out the gate. Are you sure? Hmm.
oh, come off it. Yeah. Because it's interesting when you said about making notes, and what I love is that you're making notes about the positives,
Yes.
so that you actually are banking that. Because what we tend to do is we focus on, oh, I slipped, or I did this, or I did that. That's taking me away from my goal.
Yeah.
And then people very easily slip into, oh, well, why bother?
Yeah.
And I love that analogy. I've used it with a client the other day and she just cracked up. And I said, it's a bit like, when you've had that, you've cocked up, and instead of just going, okay, I'm going to start afresh, it's that analogy of slashing your tires. If you heard that, you get a flat tire and it's like going, oh, well, I might as well slash the other four. And she just cracked up at that. And I said, but that's what we're doing
Yeah.
when we muck up once and then just throw the towel in.
Yes.
I might as well eat the whole tub of ice cream. So yeah, actually focusing on your wins, even if they are.
It all adds up, but it takes a little while to yeah, get you to that place of where you're yeah, it gets easier.
Mm.
Yeah.
And you keep it on your phone, because I mean the other one is, you know, it's just like I've said to people about journaling, but whatever works for you.
Yes. So
You've got
I
to,
go week by week, I make notes, and if for whatever reason I haven't trained, I used to absolutely rip myself if I didn't, whereas now I shift the day and think, okay, well, you know, I wasn't able to do it today. It's out of my control, but I need to make time on the, Sunday or whatever day it is to make up for that so that my week is still ticked.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So that kind of keeps me um like mentally okay, as in I'm not being hard on myself. I know that I'm going to do it.
yeah.
Yeah, and still having that satisfaction, like, yep, I'm on track. It's
Mm,
okay. That happened, but we're going to do it.
mm. And I think not underestimating the power of those ticks. No.
Yes, little habits
Yeah,
lead to the big ones.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I always think, because we use them for kids, don't we? Like this, you know, the tick charts. And I go, yeah, but the same principle.
Oh,
It's very satisfying.
it is. It's like I'm giving myself a sticker. It's so cheesy, but it just like, good girl.
Yeah, yeah. Nobody else is going to do it for you, are they?
Yeah.
Good old positive reinforcement. So, Bonnie, as we start to sort of think about winding up, I wanted to, and I did sort of just talk to you about this initially, is I wanted to ask you, you know, what do you think would be one piece of advice that you think you would give to somebody who's either wanting to make, you know, a health shift or a lifestyle shift, you know, like in your case, sort of, you know, selling the business and starting your own business, a career shift. Is there something that you think that you've learnt in your fitness and in what you've actually achieved as a business owner that
Yeah. Like how to start.
just something, yeah, I don't know, just have you got any thoughts around what might inspire people to make that shift? Because I think, you know, when you said about women prioritizing themselves and, you know, those are the people that I'm drawn to, women who are sort of saying, well, where to next? What am I going to do? It doesn't have to be a massive shift,
Yeah.
but you know, what pushes you from where you are now to that next level? Maybe that's a better way of looking at it, framing it.
Um,
You kind of
oh,
touched on it with your goals. I just wonder if it was anything, you know, you said that you need, because I thought that was really interesting when you talked about as a youngster, you know, you needed something to keep you out of trouble. And I think we all, that carries
yes.
on through our life, don't we? Or else we'll end up,
Yeah.
it might be a different level of trouble, but
Yes. Yes. Um, so I think from a business perspective, it's having the pros and the cons. But like for me, visually seeing them and weighing that up, what is more important.
Mm,
Um, yeah, what's more important? What are you willing to put up with? And the risk factor.
mm.
Um, yeah,
Which ties in quite nicely with, you know, as you know, I talk about values and getting people to actually articulate them.
yes,
And that's when it kicks in, isn't it?
yeah,
Um, yeah, because you know that the potential with with your own business and with getting fit is that other things are going to fall by the wayside
yeah,
because you
yeah,
become so focused.
yeah,
Um, yeah, and I think that is coming across when you sort of talked about how do the family
yeah,
get involved when you're competing? Will they come with you? It's not, how do I sort the kids out so that I can go away?
No. So it's always I try to do it where, I train in the morning, or, none of their time is affected by my training. So I don't have that guilt of, I should be with my family. And then, like, for Bali, for example, they knew that I was working really hard for this competition. And then what they got from it was a holiday. So, they were all for me training. They got to come backstage and they got to enjoy the whole thing. They knew the minute that I was off the stage that I was theirs. And literally they were counting down like, yep, you're done, let's go.
Love it.
That's that.
And I guess another thing that I really want to highlight, because again, you're not the only woman that I know that has done this, is you are modeling for your kids, aren't you?
Yes.
You're
Yeah.
modeling as a mother, you're modeling as a wife, as somebody who's got a life. And I think we can often forget that because people are concerned about, as you say, are they getting my time? Am I giving them what they need? And we forget that you being happy and doing what you want and fulfilling yourself is important for them to see. And both the boys and the girls, isn't it?
Yes. I think it's like all my boys play sports, so we spend quite a lot of time with that, and they are really, really loving it. So they understand like a little bit more of my side as well. Like I do my thing when they're at school or whatever time, and then it's their turn, and then it's our family time. It's not always easy. Well, it's a little bit of chaos and all of that, but we all I think they are learning to relate a lot more as well, because they are heavily involved in their own sports, and they love theirs as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, Bonnie, thank you so much for this morning. It's been, absolutely fantastic to talk with you. I really appreciate you sharing.
Thank
Is
you.
there anything that you want to well, how do people get in touch with you if they want to connect with you? You're setting up a web page, is that right?
Yeah, well, obviously I need to finish off the business plan. But at the moment it's only Instagram, which is, I think
I'll
it's just,
share that. I'll share it.
just my name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And watch this space. Bring on the worlds.
Yes. Can't wait.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
And
Kate. Thank you,
look forward.
ladies.
We will catch up with you soon.
Yes. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Bye.